A very good evening, Dr. Shobha ji. A very good evening to all the participants. A very hearty welcome. On behalf of Principal Khalsa College, I take a pleasure to welcome Dr. Shobha again in this series of nutritional webinar. Today, she is going to speak to us on a very important topic, food and emotions. The relationship between eating and emotions has always been a topic of interest, not only amongst the modern researchers, but also in the Indian traditions. This relationship varies according to the particular characteristics of the individual and according to the specific emotional state. We consider findings in the reciprocal interactions between, on the one hand, emotions and food intake, and on the other, the psychological and emotional consequences of losing weight and dieting. According to Ayurveda, like increases like, and opposites bring balance. To put this in a clearer context, we can take example of anxiety. The qualities of anxiety include light, mobile, cold, dry. Therefore, to establish balance, we have to avoid foods with similar qualities like caffeine, cold cereal, raw salad, while favoring foods that contain the opposite qualities of heavy, grounding, and warm and moist. So Ayurveda has its own perception of on this important aspect of life, food and emotions. In the modern context, we find that there are modern theories on the relationship between emotions and eating behaviors, which have originated mainly in the literature on obesity. The psychosomatic theory of obesity proposes that eating may reduce anxiety and that the obese overeat in order to reduce discomfort. The theory of obesity hypothesizes that overweight people do not recognize physiological causes of hunger because of faulty learning. The restraint hypothesis postulates that people who are chronically restrict their food intake overeat in the presence of disinhibitors, such as the perception of having overeaten, alcohol, or stress. So the point I want to make is that this topic is such a vast, having inputs from literature, Ayurvedic, Indian philosophy, and the modern medical research, and even the specialized psychiatry branch and all that. So it's very pleasure that we have amongst us Dr. Shobha, who enlightened us on an important topic on food nutrition last fortnight. And she proved to be an erudite and a very popular speaker, especially thanks to her interactive and participative style of teaching. So I welcome Dr. Shobha, and before I request her to deliver her learned talk today, can I request my colleague Dr. Neeta Dhingra to please introduce her to the participants, especially those who are new today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Sukhvinder, kindly confirm if I'm audible.
Yes, Neeta ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Shobha G. Dr. Shobha is a gold medalist in MSc from Bangalore University and has done her doctoral research in the area of human development. She has 27 years of teaching experience both at undergraduate and postgraduate levels and has guided several post-graduation projects in various areas of research. Currently, she is working as Associate Professor and Head, Department of Human Development at Srimati VHD College of Home Science, Bangalore. Besides being an educator, Dr. Shobha is also an accomplished counselor, nutritionist, and a life skill coach, as is manifested in a galaxy of prestigious awards conferred upon her by various organizations. Her articles regularly appear in the newspapers, and she has also given several programs on different television channels in the areas of education, healthy eating, adolescent issues, to name a few, with a view to inculcate a preventive approach among students, faculty, parents, and also senior citizens. Dr. Shobha has conducted a range of workshops in schools, colleges, state and central government organizations, as well as NGOs, addressing various issues pertaining to life skills, work-life balance, brain gymming, emotional intelligence, and many more. Lately, during the COVID-19 crisis, Dr. Shobha has been involved in conducting online awareness programs on immunity building foods for everyone and also psychological implication of COVID on children and aged. Ma'am, it's an honor and a joyful privilege to have you amidst us once again this evening, and all colleagues and students of our college join me in welcoming you to our virtual meeting. I now respectfully invite you for your presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you very much, madam, for that wonderful introduction. Once again, I thank Sri Guru Nanak Dev Khalsa College, New Delhi, the IQAC department of the college, Sri Deepak sir, and the entire gamut of faculty, students, and the participants. Thank you so much for having me over. So, as you said, this is the second in the series, and I'm really, really delighted to see such wonderful participation from the students, the faculty, and the other group. So, before I begin, I think there was a quiz that was conducted. Can I have a little light thrown on that, ma'am? Can one of you just give me the highlights of that? Do we have a graph representation, or how have they fared?
Yes, ma'am. Surely I'll share my screen and share the responses of the
Mhm.
participants. I think some have joined just now. I'll be sharing again the link. If they want, they can just, I'm sharing the link again. This is just a revision of our last session.
Hmm.
Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Not yet.
Anyone can please confirm the screen is visible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am, it's visible.
yes, Sukhvinder, it's visible.
How many
Okay.
is it?
This is the graph, ma'am.
Oh, I don't see, ma'am. Hmm.
But Anita ma'am, is the screen
Yes,
visible to
yes,
you?
yes, we can see. It is
Okay.
visible to
Shobha
us.
ma'am, I think you need to pin that IQAC coordinator.
Oh,
Then you
okay.
will be able to see. Yes.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Can you see it
Is
now,
it?
Dr. Shobha?
Now, yeah, now I think I should be able
Okay,
to. In a
great,
while.
great.
In a while. I haven't seen it still. Probably in a while. Mm, okay, doesn't matter, ma'am. You just tell me. I still couldn't
Oh,
see.
yes, 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 ma'am. Many of the participants have scored 9. Many of them have scored 10, but the main score is 9, and the
Wonderful.
range is between 5 and 10.
Okay, that's really good.
Uh, Many are still filling the responses. I'm getting the responses still.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So average is about 8, 9. That's good. So wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So you've set the stage, especially Deepak sir has set a stage for today's session on food and mood. Yeah, I'll be talking more from the scientific aspect and the modern nutrition perspective. That context I'm going to talk right now. Before I begin, let me, from the chat box, let me hear how many of you are attending for the first time. We have about 63 people among about 60. Let me quickly get an idea for how many it is the first session. Well, you just give me an answer first if you're attending for the first time. I haven't got in the chat box, so do I assume that? Okay, Kanchan says first, yes. Okay, first, okay. So what I understand from the very few responses is probably majority are attending the second class of mine. You were there with me last class and you're here today. That is really, really nice. I'm so happy that we have continued patronage. That is something very important, and that is what was conceptualized. If we can, or if you can keep this through the coming sessions and be there every session, fortnightly session, I think that will be really good. I'll be more than happy to welcome new participants too. But then, those of you who have been with me, if you are there throughout the learning process and the journey, the learning will be continuous and we can connect better. So, thank you so much. Very few first ones I got. So, really nice. So, before I begin, once again, another question. What change did you bring in your lifestyle in this fortnight after listening to me? Give me one change in your dietary or lifestyle pattern that was an impact of my session. Let's see.
Started taking fruits more
Okay.
frequently.
Yeah, that's good. I've got some answers there. More variety of dal, wonderful. Started eating sprouts. That's really nice. More fruits, great. Okay. What else? More answers, please. Supplementing cereals and grains. Very good, very good. That's what I was talking to you about, the nutrient dense recipes. Great. Daily eating sprouts. Who said that? Meena? Yeah, one of you said that. I don't know. There's no name there. Including all food groups in balance. Bhavana says, wow, that's really great. Fruits of natural sugar, for natural sugar. Wonderful. Instead of eating the table sugar and artificial sugar, I'm eating more fruits, ma'am. Increasing protein intake. Started giving my family sprout salad. Wow. Increase protein intake. Great. I think my Dasara has begun. Actual Navaratri has begun for me, I think. With all of you bringing all these changes in your lifestyle, what more do I want? That's exactly why I'm back with you all. More than anything, if you people are applying this in your life and then practicing good diet and healthy lifestyle, sitting in one part of Bangalore, if I'm able to bring in some change and touch your lives of those who are at different parts of the country, I think my day is made. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here once again with me, and thanks for joining hands in the process of learning. So this gives me more courage. I have got my 4 food groups today from all of you. So I begin. Thank you so much. Warm welcome to all of you. Once again, thanks for the organizers. So we take up the second session on food and mood. All these topics, although are related, they're also connected in a way, disconnected in a way. There are certain principal points or the main key issues which will be running through all the sessions. There could be repetitive points and a couple of slides which are so important. I might be showing it today, I might be showing it in the next class too. Apart from that, we are going to learn something new every week. So having said that, you began the class with the thanks for all your answers. I'll be really delighted, but I'm going to move ahead. Yes, good answers. My applause to each one of you. There was a quiz based on my previous class, and wonderful whoever did that. Thanks for taking that time and doing that revision. And we really got to know that how much of the information was received and retained. I begin with another quiz of today's, what I'm going to talk to you. So, can you make me the host? Can I present it?
Ma'am, you are presenting your screen. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? Okay. So here I begin with a quiz for today's session. Yeah. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It is visible.
Okay. This is where we go. Let your fingers be on the chat window. Let me see how your answers come to me on this particular topic. The first question to you is quiz number 1 is dash is referred to as the second brain. Dash is referred to as the second brain. You have A, B, C, and D.
Gut.
You can give me your answers in the chat box. Okay, C, gut says a couple of them. Okay, C, gut. Okay, okay. More answers for gut coming. Any other answers here? Oh, gut has been a very popular answer here. Great, great. Good. I think I've got the majority replies. So I move on. We will finish all the questions and then come back. Yes, the second one. A lack of this mineral can be directly linked to difficulty going to sleep and staying asleep. Many people have this problem of sleep disturbance, staying awake in the bed, or difficulty going to sleep. There could be many reasons for sleep problems, but one of it can be directly linked to lack of this mineral. And which mineral is this? A, B, C, and D. Lack of this mineral can affect your mood and then affect the sleep. Okay, iodine, magnesium. There's a tie between iodine and magnesium. Let's see. Let's go fast. Okay, magnesium, iron. We have answers between the 3. I haven't so far given you what the right answer is. I'm still waiting. Okay. Okay. More answers towards magnesium, followed by iodine. Okay. Let me move on to the next one. Yes. A deficiency of in vitamin B6 is linked to mood disorders and depression. There are many times people feel low, depressed, and one of the reasons could be deficiency of vitamin B6. And mere a dietary supplement or eating this particular food group or foods rich in vitamin B6 can elevate your mood, improve the depressive state, which is that food which elevates vitamin B6, and then we can see a better mood. Now, it's not overnight, it's not a medication, it's something to be done over days. A, B, C, D. The foods rich in vitamin B6, which will in turn take care of mood disorders and depression. A, B, C, and D. Okay, answers for A, B. Okay, let's see more answers there. Okay. There's a tie between A and B, milk products and sunflower seeds. Okay, okay. Deepak Sharma sir says A, Anju says A, Nidhi says B. Let's move forward. Yes. Here we go. Consuming this can lead to brain fog, moodiness, anxiety, fatigue. There are days when you have a low feeling. I'm not feeling all that good. And that can be linked to the kind of food we have eaten. Which is that? That can lead to brain fog. A, B, C, and D. Milk and milk products, salt, MSG, none of the above. It could be none of the above too. I don't know. Okay, Anju says MSG. We have a lot of answers for C. Okay, there are answers for B also. Okay, here we go to the last one in this series. Yes. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter, helps regulate sleep, mediate mood, and inhibit pain. 95% of serotonin is produced in A, B, C, and D. Please put the question number and give me your answer so that I don't get confused with your previous answers. Question number 5 and your answer, A, B, C, D. Okay. Okay, Indra says she couldn't see the options displayed. Let's see if I can put it back. Deepak sir says B, Priya says B. A lot of answers for B. At the same time, I also see a couple of C's there. Okay, wonderful. That's really, really nice to get all these answers. Some right, some of you write most of the time, some of you write sometime. But one thing what we need to understand or what we learn is there is so much that we need to know about our own food and mood. Many times we think that food is for physical energy, for physical development, but we forget the link between the food and mood. Just like most of the questions which we were answering was related to the food and mood. How and what the right answer is, I'm going to talk about it a little later, but we do understand that yes, this is where we begin. Is there a relationship between food and mood? If so, what is the relationship between food and mood is what we are going to learn today. So, is there a relationship between food and mood? At this juncture, what do you all feel? Is there a relationship between food and mood? If so, how is food and mood related? Food is something we take through our alimentary canal. It goes through the digestive process, the stomach, the large and small intestine, the large intestine, and we pass it out. And we get calories, we get our proteins, and this is for the growth, energy, and the maintenance of the body. Where does this new paradigm of mental health or mood come in? Is food and mood related? If you have a strong yes, let me see that yes there. And my next question was, how is it related? Any one point what you think food and mood is related? Give me that one point. Yes. Quick answers. Yes, there's a lot of yeses coming. Nidhi says lots of food is comfort food, helps us feel good when we are low. Okay. Yes. Yes. So unanimously, people are agreeing that yes, there is a direct link between the food and the mood. It could be eating the right food and elevating your mood, and it could be vice versa, as some of you have put it. Comfort food, eating a lot of food, and thereby the mood can be adversely affected also. Brilliant. Yes. So if all of us agree that food definitely affects our mind, body, and soul, we shall see how it affects in a positive way, what are the negative effects of food and mood, and how is it that we can improve. What are those foods that improve or give a positive push to the mind, and what are those foods which suck us or which pull us down? What is it that we should be doing to get the best out of the food we eat, not just in terms of calories and proteins, but also in terms of good mood, happiness, sleep, quality of life, smile, everything. So that is something we are looking at in today's topic. So we talk today mainly about the psychological effect of food, both in the positives and the negatives ways, how we can improve and how we can harm our own moods. So yes, food soothes the feelings. Example, chocolates give a high. Good. Yes. So we all agree that food is so much related. We call it as the physiological function of food, the social function of food, the emotional function of food. Physiological function is food gives us energy. Food gives us all the nutrients which are really, really required for various biochemical actions. It's not just that. Food is also eaten, food is served during functions. We at Langar, festivals, Dasra, Navratri is approaching, Prasad is distributed. So I was telling you the last class also. So food is associated with the social relationship. Apart from that, food and mood are directly linked. So what are those foods that really, really affect us, and what are those foods that can really hamper? Let us have a detailed understanding about that from here onwards. So, what happens? Eating pattern and mood swings. Basically, what is it that we need to understand at the physiological level is we need to have a steady blood sugar. That's primary. If you have a notebook with you, notebook and a pencil, please note down just the key points. It is very important that we have a steady blood sugar levels for that constant supply of energy. Whenever there is fluctuation of blood sugar level and nutritional imbalances, it causes mood swings. I just take this example of a diabetic patient. In the case of diabetics or diabetic patients, whenever a diabetic hasn't had his or her quota of her meal, breakfast, lunch, and she's hypoglycemic or running low on sugar, you see that person sweating, turning black, fatigue, trembling, shivering, all these things. There's a kind of a blockage, and it can also result in losing consciousness and could be a sudden fall. All these are indications of low sugar, which tells us very clearly that blood sugar fluctuations cause mood swings. That is the case of a diabetic I was telling. Why does that happen? Because insulin deficiency, because of insulin, the person deficient insulin, the person was unable to metabolize sugar, so he or she was on artificial insulin. The body works in this pattern. In a normal person, whenever we ingest food, when we take food, matching amount of insulin is produced. The pancreas releases insulin to match the amount of food or glucose that has to be metabolized. But unfortunately, in the case of diabetic patients, there is a mismatch between the insulin production and the food intake. Either there is low production of insulin or the insulin receptors are non-functional, resulting in these symptoms of low mood, trembling, blackout, palpitations, etc. So if that can happen in a diabetic person, now let's talk about a normal healthy individual with erratic eating habits. You go on fasting for long hours, or fasting or feasting, what we say. Eat heavy meals, uncontrolled heavy meals, empty calories, just sugar spikes, low fiber sugar spikes, and then people go on flat diet, not eating anything for many hours, starving, forced starvation, skipping meals. So both these fasting and feasting results in fluctuations in blood sugar, just like how in a diabetic person's case, how there is fluctuation and how the person goes through a lot of mood swings, problems. Similarly, these unhealthy patterns can also result in mood swings. So especially those people who are in the habit of skipping breakfast, especially the students. During their college days, there's hardly any time to eat breakfast. So there are a lot of students who come to colleges without having their breakfast. And this becomes a pattern very, very slowly and gradually. They don't even realize that. And their days are like this. In the class, they are drowsy, unattentive, not able to grasp things. Even if you grasp, the retention is less. The cognition and memory faculty are not working to the fullest. Your productivity isn't as good. You're not enjoying your lessons and your class. And we rarely blame this on the food. We forget that it's because of non-consumption of breakfast, or it is because of the fluctuation in blood sugar. We don't even think about that. We owe it to many things. Please remember, we need to have steady supply of blood sugar. And how should the blood sugar be? From where should these sugar come? These sugars should come from complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are those where there is fiber in it, there is sugar or carbohydrate in it, which gradually releases glucose. You have what is called as simple carbohydrates and the complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are those which are present in whole grains, vegetables, fruits, where there is fiber and sugar in it, and when you eat that, the sugar is gradually released. That's called as a complex carbohydrate because it has fiber also, it has sugar also. Opposite of this is empty calories, the simple carbohydrates or simple sugars. Empty calories are those where you have nothing other than the sugars in that, no fiber, no other nutrients. A typical example is a glass of or a can of aerated drinks. It could be a toffee, it could be just a chocolate, a candy bar, without any other fiber or vitamins or micronutrients. So you have on one hand the empty calories, on one hand you have the complex carbohydrates. When you take complex carbohydrates in the form of whole fruit, whole wheat, chapati, roti, cereals, dalias, etc., whole carbohydrates, the sugar is intermittently released into your bloodstream. So from morning 9 o'clock, if you have had your breakfast and your next meal is at 1, there is intermittent or gradual sustained release of glucose to your bloodstream, which means that you are kept energetic, you are kept active throughout your previous meal to the next meal. Instead, you have just gulped down a can of aerated drink or just a candy bar or some sweets or some kind of coffee tea without complex carbohydrate. The sugar spikes up, you get energy, you feel good, and because there is no fiber and it metabolizes very quickly, the blood sugar dips and we start feeling low, we start feeling hungry, and you immediately pick up something which will give you immediate calories, which will definitely be a junk food. This is one of the pattern how blood sugar fluctuations impact the mood. So point number one, principally, please see to it that You supply your body with constant source of good energy in the form of complex carbohydrates, which comes from good breakfast. It could be a good meal comprising of the different food groups which I'm going to talk about. That is something we need to take care of. Most of the traditional Indian breakfast, whether it is north, south, east, or west, we have good complex carbohydrate breakfast to set or to start your day. Give me one typical breakfast which is pertaining to your own geographical area or your custom. Healthy breakfast which has a complex carbohydrate in it, pertaining to your own custom geographical location. Dosa, dalia, vegetable stuffed paratha, paratha, yes, paratha with a bowl of curds, dahi, or stuffed paratha with vegetables, mooli, aloo, gobi, wonderful. It could be, yes, beautiful. So what bajra dalia? Absolutely. Dali bajra is an excellent millet. Upma, beautiful. So we have kick-started the day with a complex carbohydrate and a steady source of glucose, steady source of energy. And one of the basic or the best meal of the day is breakfast. Never miss it. About 50 to 60% of Indian women are anemic and they skip the meals. And that is one of the reasons for maternal deaths, one of the reasons for low birth weight in the newborn babies, one of the reasons for preterm deliveries. So please take care of your food habits. It's very, very, very important. So we hear a lot of examples here in the form of breakfast. So those of you who are familiar with a couple of them, please acquaint yourself with an array of other choices that's given by your co-participants. Let us learn what these are and then enrich your diet. I would like to remind you that the last session in the series is open to participants. So you should have an eye on all these discussions and quickly note down what is it that I should be learning in the last session, which is a participants. I'm just suggesting it could be any of these. It could be exchanging a lot of recipes. It could be, there is one thalipet and chutney. For those of you who don't know what thalipet is, we can have a discussion on that. Some of you have written about bajra upma, and people who don't know what bajra dalia or bajra upma is, maybe we can. So this is just, I'm just giving you a hint. Any of such unknown aspects or interesting things that comes to your mind in the course of discussion, make a note of it, talk to your organizers. We have the last session open. We can decide what you would like to have for the last session. I'll be more than glad to go as per the audience interest. So I don't know if it's visible.
You need to present. Yes, ma'am, it's visible. You need to present your this presentation. Your
Oh,
Google Meet screen is there. Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
visible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we were here. So without a steady source of fuel from the foods we eat, our mind and bodies don't function well. Start your day with good breakfast. Similarly, let all your other meals also have good supply of blood or energy yielding foods. That is something as an underlying factor. Please remember, we are going to talk about this a little later in more detail. So let's move on to some of the unhealthy eating habits that can alter mood and well-being. So basic was that have steady supply of good glucose. That's very important. Avoid fluctuations in your blood sugar levels. What are those wrong habits we get into which can alter our mood and emotional well-being? As I'm telling you this, very much related to what we have just discussed. See, skipping a meal, missing a meal, especially breakfast, as I told you. This is something which should not be done. In fact, I teach in a college. Many a times in our college morning assembly, we see at least a couple of girls during the assembly time, they're unable to even stand for about 15-20 minutes, complete the national anthem and the morning assembly chores or the routine. We have at least one or two girls collapsing. And then when we talk to them after a little while, when they are feeling a little better, the reason is they haven't had their breakfast, and many a times they wouldn't even had their dinner also, or an early dinner and skipping breakfast. This, please avoid, especially the faculty. Please educate the students. Let them attend college only after taking a healthy breakfast. If there is no time, let's teach them how to make time and also how to get the best out of the short breaks, and then how still get a good breakfast. So that's something very important. And another next very important unhealthy eating habit that especially students and the youth follow is cutting out on entire food groups. We're going to talk about food groups in the name of fad diets, in the name of various food faulty habits. There are a whole lot of youngsters who cut out on entire food groups. We hear about the paleo diet, we hear about the Atkins diet, we hear about so many other fad diets where the entire food group is deleted from the diet. What are these food groups? Why, I'll show this to you so that, yes, this is what a food pyramid looks like. Food pyramid comprises of the basic four food groups. This picture or talk on food pyramid and the previous slide on the four pillars of optimal health will be something which I will be, or I have to be sharing in the coming sessions too. It's one of the very, very important aspects. So kindly listen to it and make a note of it. So food pyramid talks about the basic four food groups. The different foods we eat can be grouped under these four food groups using this analogy of a food pyramid. The pyramid is broad at the base and it tapers as we go on top. Different foods are placed at different levels of the pyramid. At the bottom, we see all the cereals. You were talking about dalia, you were talking about rava, the wheat, the rice, the staples, all those are cereals which come in the bottommost segment of the food pyramid. The pyramid is broad at the base and it tapers, which means the foods that are given at the bottom should be eaten in larger quantities, and those foods at the top should be eaten in moderation or sparingly. So this is the four food group concept. The first food group is cereals. Remember three important words when we are talking about that. The cereals should be whole in nature. This is exactly what I was telling you about the fiber in it. Let it be less processed. It should be whole in nature. Unpolished rice, less polished rice, less processed bajra and wheat. Opposite of this is refined and polished. So as much as possible, let it be less processed and whole in nature. Point number two, go in for variety of cereals, different types of cereals. There are a whole lot of variety. In rice itself, there are different strains of rice. There are hundreds and hundreds of strains of rice. Unfortunately, we have lost out on many rice strains, but we still have different varieties of rice, different varieties of cereals. Last time I was talking about pulses. There are a lot of varieties of cereals. So bring in a variety of cereals. If you are a North Indian and majorly a wheat uh, eating person, see to it that you include some of the millets. See to it that you add some minor millets. It could be bajra or finger millet or harka, kodo millet. There are about 9 to 10 millets which are extremely important, very, very good. Why millets have an edge over other cereals is millets have low glycemic index. They release sugar at a very slow pace. They have fiber, they have no gluten. So those people who are allergic to gluten, which is a type of protein which is present in wheat, millets have no gluten in them, non-glutinous foods. They have a lot of vitamin B's and micronutrients. So please include variety in the form of different cereals. Third word, very important word, is moderation. Anything in moderation. Any diet. I was mentioning about different diets. Anything in moderation. People are told that you need to have just a fruit diet or a clear soup diet or a liquid diet in order to shed those calories. So we quickly jump onto that bandwagon and start skipping all those meals and then start just getting onto only fruits, only milk, only juices, anything in moderation. It's not that any food by itself is perfect or there's something bad in the food. By itself, all foods, if taken in moderation, should be fine. Someone was talking about chocolates. Yes, chocolate is a mood elevator, but again in moderation. Red wine could be good for heart, but again in moderation. So moderation should be the key. So very importantly, remember these three words and include very importantly the first food group, that is cereals. About 60 to 65% of your everyday energy should come from the carbohydrate, from this particular group, that is cereals. An average adult sedentary or moderate worker requires about 2000 to 2200 calories per day, and out of these 2000 to 2200 kilocalories per day, 60 to 65% of our energy should come from this group, that is the cereals group, the first food group. The second food group is the vegetables and fruits food group. Very importantly, the vegetables and fruit, if you look at the food pyramid, it is still broad there, which means to say we should be eating a lot of vegetables and fruits. Why should we be eating vegetables and fruits? Each and every color in the vegetable, the red color lycopene, which is present in tomato, is good for the heart. The orange carotene, which is present in carrots, is good for the eyes. The white pigment indole that's present in gobi or cauliflower is good for another part of the body. So similarly, each and every color is a storehouse of antioxidants. It is anti-cancerous. It is anti-inflammatory. So we need to include a lot of natural colors into our diet. What happens when we take good quantity of fruits and vegetables? Fruits and vegetables add fiber. They give good sugar. They are anti-inflammatory, anti-cancerous. At the same time, when we include variety into our diet in the form of different cereals, different vegetables, different fruits of different colors, that improves the gut microbiome, the diversity of gut microbiome. There were two questions in my today's quiz about gastrointestinal tract and gut microbiome. Many of you got your answer right. The second brain, it is the gut is referred to as the second brain. The answer for the first question, the right answer is gut. There were many other answers, multiple answers, skin, liver, heart, but the right answer is gut. Many of you got that right. Gut is referred to as the second brain. In our gastrointestinal tract or the gut, there are diverse colonies of microbiome or bacteria, gut microbiome, what we call as. How healthy we are, our immunity, our happiness, our moods, our mental health comes to a large extent from the gut microbiome. That's exactly why the gut is referred to as the second brain. Most of you would have experienced this when we are tensed. As students, when we enter the examination hall, a very tough paper, you feel butterflies in the stomach, a very, very uneasy feeling whenever we are stressed. What is that? That's because of the neurons. We have a lot of neurons, thousands of neurons in the gastrointestinal tract, which perceive the feelings. And that's why we get that butterfly feeling in the stomach. So very importantly, take care of your gut health. That is primary for a good mood. How do we have? So the principle here is maintaining a diverse gut microbiome. The different types of colonies of microbiome we have in our gut, that healthy we will be in terms of physical health and mental health. We are talking so much about COVID today and immunity. Immunity, 80% of your immunity comes from your gut health. So if you keep your gut microbiome diverse, variety, then you have better immunity. Similarly, if you have a variety or different colonies of gut microbiome, you have good mental health. So how to promote diversity of gut microbiome is by eating diverse or different types of vegetables, fruits, and cereals and pulses. That is exactly why we should be eating variety of foods. Please remember. But unfortunately, today we have reduced ourselves to monoculturalization. We are eating the pizzas, the burgers, the pastries, the noodles, the quick foods, and go to the roots of any of these comfort foods or junk foods. It is nothing but the refined maida, additives, salt, sugar, preservatives, and nothing natural about it. Most of the comfort foods, most of the convenient foods, most of the junk foods is all coming from one or two sources of food only. Where is the variety? Look at the Indian diet, any part of the country, how diverse it is in terms of vegetables, fruits, the preparation, the type of pulses and cereal combination, variety. Our Indian diet was made to enrich the gut microbiome, in turn, support the mental health of the person. So please increase the different types of vegetables and fruits. If you are that type where I can't stand this lauki or bengan or this or that, today is a day where you make this change, that you start eating another extra, another one vegetable which you are not very commonly using. That way, slowly increase and bring in a whole lot of vegetables, especially the different colors, the different genre. Look at brinjals, there are purple, there is green, there is, look at grapes, there are different colors. Each and every color of the vegetable and fruit works at a particular level at different tissues and body. There are different, just look at, we talk about the light. Light is made up of 7 colors. These vegetables and fruits also absorb the sunlight, different frequency of sunlight, and they get their colors, which means to say that the solar energy is in the food. So when you eat the different colors, colorful vegetables, you get the energy from nature. I was just talking, I don't know if I've told you in the last class, I was talking about different colors, and I was talking about the food pyramid and in one of the corporate companies, and I was telling them that you should be eating different colors and add different colors to your diet. And I always say your diet, your thali should be like a rainbow, different colors. So one gentleman, a very highly qualified gentleman, said, "Ma'am, yes, I eat a lot of colorful foods." I said, "Brilliant, that's really good." He said, "Red color gobi manchurian, green color haryali kebab." Oh my God, that's not what I meant. What I meant is the natural colors that come from fruits and vegetables. Each and every color of the vegetable and fruit is a storehouse of antioxidants. When you eat different colors, it not only gives you that immunity and all those antioxidants, but it also improves the gut microbiome, the variety of gut microbiome, thereby your mental health also. Please improve that. That's exactly why whenever we have or when we are on any kind of antibiotics due to some kind of infection, immediately doctors also prescribe the healthy bacteria in the form of Sporidex capsules or sachets. Why? They are putting back the friendly bacteria into your gut. Probiotics, drinking curds or buttermilk is another way of restoring the healthy bacteria. See to it that you have good bacteria colony in your gut. That's the best, one of the best gifts you can give to yourself, both for your physical health and mental health. At this juncture, I just take a break. I ask you people, how is it going? Hope you're all with me. Is it interesting? You can quickly text me with an Y or N. Y for yes, N for no. Very nice. I'm so happy to see this series of yeses and Ys coming. Very happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so I was talking to you about the food pyramid. I was talking about the second group, that is the vegetables and the fruit group. So add color to your diet. In fact, oncologists or the cancer specialists say that add color to your diet and keep away from cancer. So please, from today, bring in those different vegetables and fruits, add those colors so that you enrich your diet. The third one is milk and milk products and the meat, poultry, fish. Look at the size of the pyramid, the segment. It's a little less compared to the first and second, which means to say that you need to be eating lesser quantity of foods from this food group. This is called as the third food group, the protein group. It should be eaten in moderation. But this is also very, very important. There was one question related to sleep. There was one question related to magnesium and sleep and mood. Let me talk about that. Sleep is something which is very, very important for a person. Our good mental health comes from a good, well rested sleep. It's very important for an individual. And good sleep, one of the ingredients for good sleep is serotonin. Serotonin is a feel good or a happy neurotransmitter. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter which is produced in the brain. It is a neurotransmitter which is produced in your gut again. So the happy hormone serotonin, if you need to feel happy, if you need to feel or if you need to get good sleep, remember this serotonin, which is very, very important. And this serotonin, one of the precursor for the production of serotonin is amino acid tryptophan. Amino acid tryptophan is very important for the production of this serotonin, and you get good tryptophan from milk. So having a good warm glass of milk with a little honey or sugar just before bedtime is a great way of boosting your serotonin production and having a good sleep. At the same time, milk and milk products are also a good source of calcium, protein, and to some extent vitamin D, which is very, very important. And of course, the egg, dairy, milk, and the poultry, fish also have good omega-3 fatty acids, good proteins, so very important for the body, but to be eaten in moderation. This is the third group. The fourth food group is the oils, fats, condiments. If you look at the pyramid, it is smaller, thin, so tapered. So we should be eating very less quantity of the fats and oils, but at the same time, they are also very important. There are other fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, which require fats medium to get them dissolved. So why I brought this concept of food pyramid today is there are many faulty dietary habits, especially among youth, especially among young girls who are so conscious of their body size, body shape, and their weight. They go into these food or fat diets completely skipping the entire food group. That's why I brought this concept of food group. For a balanced meal or a balanced diet, each of us should have all the four food groups in the proportion we have studied in the food pyramid. A good supply of whole cereals, a steady and good supply of different vegetables and fruits, moderate amounts of protein foods in the form of milk and milk products, and vegetable, egg and poultry, and sparing usage of fats and oils. This is the concept of a balanced diet, not for one meal, not for one day, but all the three meals, all 365 days. Your breakfast should contain all the four food groups. Your meal should contain all the food groups. If your entire day's three meals have all the four food groups in this proportion, we have a good balanced diet, thereby a good physical and mental health. Now, put yourself into that shoes of that young girl who is completely skipping cereals, who is just into a fruit diet or a liquid diet, are completely cutting down carbs and only eating proteins, totally cutting down this and eating good quantity of fats. Where are we heading? When we cut down on complete food groups, these fat diets are okay for a few days to lose those extra calories or extra kilos. But in the long run, when we skip out the entire food group, we miss out on a lot of nutrients which come from that particular food group. So you might have reached your end goal of losing those few kilos in a month, but in the long run, it results in micronutrient deficiencies. Within a few months, we see people with thinning of hair fall, low levels of energy, dark circles, sleep disturbances, menstrual problems, heavy bleeding, sparse bleeding, irregular periods, all because of an imbalanced diet. So this is where I was talking to you about how important the food group is. So never skip the food group. Always have this concept of the balanced diet. We can never feel healthy or be healthy just by eating one type of food. That's why I use the word moderation. Anything in moderation is okay. So this is where I was in this particular slide. So cutting out an entire food group is a strict no. Maybe for a short time to lose that task or to reach that particular goal of few kilos, it could be, but never for a long time. The next one is low levels of zinc, iron, B vitamins, magnesium. All these are called as a trace elements or the micro elements. When we lose these, or when we are not getting enough of supply of zinc, iron, vitamin B, magnesium, etc., these are associated with worsening mood and decreasing energy. There was a question about the sleep, the positive mood, and the kind of the mineral or the nutrient. The right answer for that was magnesium. Very importantly, magnesium is a very good micronutrient, a mineral, which is very, very important. So those people who have problems with mood, low moods, depressive, not feeling happy, ups and downs, it could be a life event. There could be many other precursors or factors, but one major thing is if you can set your diet right, magnesium deficiency can result in depression. Magnesium deficiency can result in low moods. How do we improve magnesium? There was another question there. Sunflower seeds, flax seeds, nuts like peanuts, very good source of magnesium. So what is it that you should be doing to get your quota of magnesium, not just magnesium, to get your quota of trace elements? Just get into the practice of eating a couple of teaspoons of mixed nuts or seeds. These days it's available very easily in the stores, supermarkets, in the dry fruit shops. Go fetch yourself different seeds like pumpkin seeds, muskmelon seeds, watermelon seeds, chia seeds. Bring them. It's all available in individual packets. It's also available in mixed packets. Better is to get them unroasted, individual packets. Bring it home, lightly roast them. Pumpkin seeds, which is green color, muskmelon, sunflower seeds, watermelon seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. Roast it lightly. It kinds of pops up lightly. Salt it lightly to make that salt gets coated well. You can add just about a quarter teaspoon of ghee so that the binding is there. The salt, pepper, or salt and little chili powder, whatever for your flavor and your taste, you can add that. Cool it and store it in airtight containers. Whenever you feel hungry or whenever you feel like munching onto something, you've just come back from your college or your work and you want to have something for your tea, just toss a couple of spoons of this mixed nuts and oil seeds. You get your quota of iron, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper. And your mental health, your mood, your sleep disturbances is taken care of. We don't even know today that, as I already told you, about 55 to 60% of urban women, young girls, and rural areas, young girls and young women are suffering from anemia. And eating good quality and quantity of iron-rich foods in the form of dry fruits, raisins, it could be dates, figs, or any of these nuts and greens can just take away the iron deficiency anemia, or the magnesium deficiency, or the zinc deficiency. Unfortunately, we are not understanding the power of food. We are functioning at a suboptimal level. We have young girls losing hair, spots on the nails, which is a zinc deficiency, white spots. Many a times we see white spots on the nail beds. That is an indication of zinc deficiency. Hair fall and graying of hair, premature graying could again be a protein deficiency, magnesium deficiency, or zinc deficiency. Lustreless or lusterless skin could be omega-3 fatty acids deficiency. All these things could be just set right by altering your food habits. especially the micronutrients. So one tip what I'm giving you is take a fistful of dry fruits every day. If you're not obese, if you don't have cholesterol issues, etc., a fistful, not a handful, a fistful of mixed dry fruits in the form of raisins, almonds, figs, anjeer, whatever. Yes, it is a little expensive, but nothing when compared to the junk food, the pizza burgers. Even a small quarter or a slice of pizza, we have to pay about 200 to 300. But you are getting energy, you're getting health for the same price in the form of dry fruit. So invest, make right choices. So carry those dry fruits, put it in your pockets, take it to your college, keep it in airtight containers. Whenever you don't have time for your breakfast, at least munch on those dry fruits. It takes care of your nutrients, especially the micronutrients. And the second thing I told you, go buy yourself different types of oil seeds, roast them, either mix them and keep it or separately. Just it's tasty, it's good, and in a span of couple of months, you will understand that your energy levels have gone up, you have started feeling nice, happy, your sleep is improved. Over the days, your skin texture, your hair improves, and on the whole, you enjoy better mood and better health. Do you think this is doable? Whatever option I've given you, is it doable? If you think it is doable, let me see an yes. Gluten free is good for people with gluten allergy. Okay, I have a couple of questions. We will take up that. Yes, whatever tips I'm giving you so far, is it doable or is it rocket science? Is it something extraordinary, exorbitant? Yes, it is doable. In terms of money, in terms of your time and resources, it is doable. My dear participants, these are the things you should be learning and investing. Unfortunately, today we spend so much of time and energy on curative medicine, but very less on preventive medicine. So we need to be concentrating more on prevention rather than cure. So this is my approach. So please take care of these things so we move on. Thanks for that. Many of you say it is doable. Yes. All right. So the third point there, zinc, iron, etc. All these fistful of dry fruits and eating oil seeds in the form of pumpkin, chia, omega-3, what I was telling you, you get all these trace elements which are associated. Lack of this is associated with worsening of mood and decreased energy. So take this so that you perform at a better level. And eating too many refined carbohydrates, high intakes of unhealthy processed carbohydrates, as I was telling you, it can cause blood sugar fluctuations, spikes, and dip. This can lead to low energy and irritability. Many a times when working women or students, when they come home, they are irritable. They snap at people, especially if you have young children at home. You're so irritable, and you take it out on those poor people. One of the reasons, it's not because of your boss, it's not because of your train commuting, it's not because, it is one of the major reason is low energy levels at the end of the day. That low energy level is making you irritable. What is the reason for low energy level is because one of the main reason is there was no constant supply of good energy or glucose throughout the day. You have either fasted or feasted. You have had long gaps in between your meals. You have either skipped your breakfast or there was a long gap. You haven't carried a proper lunch. End of the day, you're feeling irritable. And we owe it to many things. We owe it to the number of files we have attended to. We owe it to the different people with whom we have worked or to the public transport system. No, it is your own habits and lifestyle. So please take care of that. Whenever you purchase yourself a good car, a premium automobile, we always fill it with the premium fuel. But why is it when it comes to your own body? It is priceless. But we fuel it with unwanted, unhealthy, processed junk food. And we expect our body or our automobile to be in a perfect shape, perfect function, and run miles and be efficient. How is it even possible? Definitely So if premium fuel is important, you go to the best of the bunch, you go get your vehicle filled with the best fuel. But when it comes to your own body, we don't take care. And even sorry factor is all our vehicles come with a service warranty. We have been recommended different patterns of servicing every 1,000 or every 5,000 kilometers or month or 6 months, whichever is faster. So different companies give you the prescription. But do we ever service our own bodies? Without any, we never see a doctor, we never go for alternate treatment, we never go for any kind of preventive unless we are running temperature or having an infection. We never service our bodies, whereas we service our vehicles. Please take care. Servicing in the form of relaxation, exercise. It could be a good massage, it could be a good spa, treating yourself with good mood and good activities. All these are servicing. It's very, very important in the long run for the efficiency of this priceless vehicle. So please take care. Researchers are also taking a close look at why diet may influence mental health. And as I was telling you, there is enormous research happening on the effect of gut microbiome and also on the oxidative stress that is eating junk food and the free radicals that are produced and the oxidative stress. In fact, a lot of cancers these days, the increase in the incidence of cancer can be owed to the oxidative stress or the free radicals in our body. So how do we flush out these free radicals? How do we accumulate free radicals is from processed foods, junk food, pollution around us, pesticides in foods. All these are adding to the oxidative stress. So you might ask me that question, ma'am, how do we control pollution around us? How do we control the farming habits? Yes, many things are not in our control, but at least we can counter these by eating good quantity of healthy foods and fruits and vegetables, by eating or increasing your amount of vegetables and fruits and natural fruits and foods and sprouts, etc. We can flush out the free radicals or toxins and thereby reduce the oxidative stress and inflammation and thereby the incidences of cancer. So it's many things are in our hands. Look at those things that can be controlled rather than complaining about those things that cannot be controlled. So this is something very important. As I was telling you, the 4 foundations of good health, the 4 foundation pillars of optimal health. Number 1 is good nutrition, adequate rest, regular exercise, and positive mental attitude. All these 4 are interconnected. Everything is related to everything else. It's not that you reduce or you cut down those, you lose those calories and you lose those kilos, and then you are having that ideal body mass index of 18 BMI or a 0 figure or a hourglass figure and you are great. No. You need to have good nutrition at the same time, good positive attitude and good exercise. All these are very, very important. This is what I call as the foundation pillars of optimal health. Good nutrition comes from balanced diet, adequate rest, very important for good mood. At least 6 to 7 hours of quality sleep is extremely important for good mood. If you don't sleep well, you cannot be a happy, energetic person the next day. Many of the sleep disturbances results or the productivity of the person, influences the productivity of the person. A lot of depression or feeling low, I'm not talking the sense of clinical depression, but feeling low energy levels can be linked to lack of rest. So it is not just the food alone, but it is amount of rest also influences the mood. So the food and rest, very important for your mood. At the same time, regular exercise, extremely important, regular exercise. When we exercise, there are different neurotransmitters that are produced in the body. The dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. If time permits, I'll talk a little more about that a little later. So very, very importantly, exercise is very important for good mood and of course, positive mental attitude. All these 4 are interrelated and affects our mood. So what are those foods that impact body, mind, and well-being? Some of it I've already told you. There was a question on MSG there in your quiz about brain fog. Yes, MSG is monosodium glutamate, commonly known as Chinese salt or Ajinomoto. It is one of the commonly used flavor enhancer, generously used in commercial foods, especially in the cart and the vendors roadside and the fast food joints. It is almost like sugar or salt, white crystalline powder, and it looks almost like salt and sugar or sugar. And in commercial cooking, I'm not saying everybody does that, in majority of the places, it is added generously. And many a times, unfortunately, people don't know the ill effects of that. It enhances taste, it improves the fragrance and the taste of that food, and you ask for more. Idil mange more, like that. You go back to the same joint, the same fast food joint, asking for the same gobi manchurian or the same fried rice. Why? Because there is MSG in that. MSG is addictive. It enhances the taste or the flavor. It also makes you addicted to that. But in the long run, MSG can result in brain fogging. And research is also today linking about constant use of MSG or monosodium glutamate, especially in young children less than age 1, and especially pregnant women. Stay away from this. ADHD or attention deficit hyperactive disorder, one of the risk factors could be MSG, monosodium glutamate. So these are intricacies that we all need to learn and know. So stay away from that. Apart from that, MSG can also result in throat itching, irritation, and also gastrointestinal disturbances. Caffeine, yes, is a good mood stimulant, enhancer, but at the same time, too much of caffeine can again result in spikes and then ups and downs. About 4 to 5 cups, about 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, which is about 4 cups, moderate, about 200 to 225 ml cups is equivalent to 1 cup. So that kind of 3 to 4 cups in a day. Not that you should have 4 cups, that's a maximum. Up to about 3 to 4 cups of coffee is okay, but more than that, extra caffeine can again have a negative impact on your body and mind. Food dyes, today different types of the colors that are added, the hues, the bright colors that go into the different types of commercial foods, all these can affect the body and mind well-being. Trans fats, when the liquid oil or hydrogen is passed through the oil and it is solidified, what we get is trans fats. Oil is taken and hydrogenation process, it goes through the hydrogenation process where hydrogen is passed through the liquid oils. Through this process, the liquid oil gets converted to solid fat, and the end product is trans fat. Why trans fats are much in usage? Because the trans fat have a higher shelf life. So a lot of bakery items, commercial foods, junk foods, packet foods have trans fats. Trans fats are bad for the heart, bad for the body and mind. So cut down as much as possible these kinds of foods which are ready to eat or the convenient and comfort foods. Processed food we have spoken enough. Diets rich in refined sugar also have spoken enough from a long time. So I move forward. So please keep away from these things. These are some of the choices you make. So does that mean that you should never eat out? You should never go to a restaurant or you never go to that fast food giant? No, it is not that. Follow the rule of 80-20, which means 80% of the time eat right, home cooked, natural, food groups, the food pyramid concept, vegetables and fruits, 80% of the time. 20% of the time you can indulge, visit places of your choice, those foods which give you happiness, the comfort food, because food is also about feeling good. You need to feel good. If you enjoy that particular burger or a pizza, enjoy that, because food is not just about calories and etc. You need to feel happy also. So don't feel guilty having that DBD or that Black Forest or the chocolate cake or whatever. You need to feel happy also, but keep that in your mind. The moderation, the dividing line, the 80-20 rule, that is something we need to keep in mind. Never feel guilty. Today you've had to your heart's content, you've treated yourself, forget that. Be happy. Be happy that you spent some good quality time with your friends in your favorite ice cream joint and you had good food. That is also going to help you in a very positive way. You might have increased your calories, doesn't matter. Don't have a guilt trip every time. Does not matter. Be happy. You've had it. See to it that you burn those calories. See to it that you have the 80% of the time you eat right. Never get into that guilt trips. So, how else do we improve our mental health and mood? Eating regularly. Very, very important. Follow right timings. There are, just look at the nature. Everything has a pattern. Sun rises at a particular time. Seasons happen at particular time. So similarly, our body is also in tune with nature. So there are times where our energy levels are high, or digestive power or the Agni is high. There are times where our body needs rest during the later part of the day. So we need to be going or in sync with nature as much as possible. Have your breakfast by between 9 or 10 or 8 to 10 o'clock, where your digestive Agni or the power is higher. A good balanced breakfast, a meal, lunch between 1 to 2, maybe a tea time, 4 to 6 o'clock, and an early dinner. At least about 1.5 to 2 hours of gap after your supper before you go to bed. Stand in vertical position, go for a short walk, never lie down immediately after food. So these regular eating habits are very, very important for your mood and your sleep and your pattern. When you eat food and immediately go to bed, there is a regurgitation of food. It comes back into your your trachea, your tract, and that disturbs your sleep. The acid reflux. Many a times people get up during their sleep. Many a times they have that acid reflux, acidosis. One of the reasons is either you're skipping your meals and fasting or feasting, or not following the regular habits, eating too much or too less, or not following intervals, having very spicy food, too much of consumption of coffee, tea, or alcohol, stress, or it could be eating and then immediately going to bed. All these things result in poor sleep, acid reflux, acidosis, gastric problem, and thereby stress, low mood, sleep disturbance, and you get up next day cranky and unhappy about it. So very importantly, eat regularly. Sustained blood sugar levels. I've been stressing so much on that. Complex carbohydrates. Yes, a lot of I've spoken. Stay hydrated. Very important. Our brain requires hydration. Whenever you're low on hydration or you're dehydrated, thinking gets clouded. We are not able to think clear, especially students. Carry a water bottle to exam hall. Whenever you're preparing for your exams, don't keep an aerated water juice or a drink next to you. Instead, keep a good potable water next to you. Keep sipping water as you're studying or as you're giving your exam. A well hydrated brain is that which can think better, where the thoughts flow easily. Never wait for the signal of thirst. Many a times, especially students, youngsters, women, they skip or they don't drink water, especially talking about girls and women, because of the lack or scarcity of good restrooms or wash stations. Women refrain from using the restrooms and refrain from drinking water. Never wait for the signal of thirst. By the time you get the signal of thirst, your body is already 10% dehydrated. So never wait for those signals. Just get into the habit of picking up your water bottles and drinking the water. That's why it's very important to take those water breaks. So I'll give a minute break. Those of you who have your water bottles next to you, just pick up your water bottles, switch on your cameras, let me see. I want to see you all picking up your water bottle and drinking. Take that water break every now and then.
Yes, ma'am.
Very important. Yeah, let me take mine. Yes. Have you had your water? Yes, it's very, very important. Good hydration is very important. Yeah. 5 a day. And talking about hydration, important tip I would like to give you. How do we know that whether we are getting enough or taking enough quantity of water? There are different theories, different recommendations. About 2 to 2.5 liters of water per day is enough or is important. Of course, it depends on your activity level, your physiology, your age, the climate, the kind of work we do. It depends on all that. Apart from that, a general rule of thumb is as an adult, you should be visiting the washroom in a day, that is from the wakeful hours of morning to your bedtime. In your wakeful hours, you should be visiting your washroom or the restroom about 5 to 6 times as an adult in a day. And each time when you pass urine, the urine should be colorless or pale in color, not dark yellow, yellow, concentrated. So the color of the urine indicates the whether you're taking sufficient quantity of water. Colorless or pale color is an indication that you're taking good hydration. You're not taxing or overburdening your kidneys. So please take care of that. 5 a day, 5 meals a day. A small frequent meal is better than heavy meal, a brunch, and then you skip your lunch or skip your dinner. We have various terms, brunch, dinner, and all that. Those are all fad terms. Please get back to the basics. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, a mid-morning snack, and a tea. Mid-morning snack could be in the form of a whole fruit. Your tea could be in the form of a fruit or your nuts or dry fruits. So 5 a day should be your mantra. This gives you steady supply of carbohydrates and glucose, good mental health, good thinking, etc. Look after your gut, I told you, get enough protein, eat the right fats, the saturated and unsaturated. The unsaturated or polyunsaturated fatty acids are good or better. Stay away as much as possible from the saturated fats or the animal fats and trans fats. Some of the positive changes to support mental health. A couple of points may be repeated here. Doesn't matter. Take the message from here. Whatever is new here, I'm going to talk about that. Getting enough protein, as I already told you, proteins contain amino acids. There are different amino acids. Each and every amino acid is important for the production of different brain chemicals. Serotonin is one neurotransmitter for which one amino acid called as tryptophan is important. That way, there are many different chemicals which are required for happy hormones, and we need different amino acids and different proteins. Very, very importantly, omega-3 fatty rich foods, like it is present in flaxseed oil or flax seeds, fish oils. So improve or increase your omega-3 consumption. Very important for your memory and for your brain and for your mental health. Flax seeds again can be roasted and it can just be eaten. You can roast flax seeds and make a form of chutney powder, a dry powder. You can add flax seeds to your rotis. You can just roast flax seeds, powder them, and put it in a glass of warm water and drink every day on an empty stomach. Excellent fiber, excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, extremely good. Always reach and maintain a healthy weight, that's important. Plenty of fluids, exercise, I was telling you. So this is one of the things that I was talking to you a little earlier. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter, happy hormone. 95% of serotonin is produced in the gastrointestinal tract. So see to it that you eat variety of foods. See to it that you don't abuse your gut. Eat healthy, good food. And yes, so at this juncture, any questions, anything you want to ask me?
Ma'am, there are several questions. Shall we take them, or you want to conclude your lecture?
I think we'll go on for questions. Yes, if time permits, I'll speak a little on the diet, etc. But then
Okay.
it's important that we answer the questions too. So let's see.
Okay, ma'am. So the first question is, does eating the same food daily harm a person ever, even though it is nutritious?
Okay, that's a good question. So eating the same food daily. So ask yourself, you might be eating the same food, and I assume that it is healthy, home cooked, or whatever food. But are you eating foods from different food groups? That is very important. As long as you're eating foods from different food groups, that's fine. Say, for example, you're eating chapati every day. Suppose that's a question. Along with chapati, if you're eating different assortment of vegetables, different types of pulses with that, different types of dals, So it is a combination. We call it as a food exchange. So what is it that you are eating? That's important. But all your 3 meals or every other day you're eating the same type of food, the same type of vegetable, the same dish every day, which means to say that you are missing out on all other nutrients which are present in different foods. So you get the answer in your question. You're missing out on the variety. Each one of us say, you have different strengths. Today we have about 60 people, 75 people logged in. 75 people have different strengths. Somebody may be good in logistics, somebody may be very good in drawing, somebody may be very good in analytical thinking, and you all pull everything together, you have a beautiful synergy and a great team working. So it's as simple as that. When you add variety, you get the best of everything. So even if it is healthy, you might be compromising on some other food, some other nutrient there. So just because milk is good, having only milk or predominantly milk for your breakfast and nothing else, or breakfast cereal only, every day you start your day with breakfast cereal. It's good, no doubt, but only breakfast cereal, it is processed. You're eating breakfast cereal with milk, and that too sweetened breakfast cereal, without sugar, without any kind of fruits or dry fruits. You're missing out on the other food groups there. So we need to question ourselves how different or how enriched I can make. So please get that variety added into your diet. So there is a
Right, ma'am.
question on
Yeah,
how.
the next question is, Ritu Pachnanda is asking, gluten-free is good for people with gluten allergy. But nowadays, people are promoting gluten-free foods, even for those who have normal digestive systems. So
Correct.
what is your take on this?
Yes, there are people who have different allergies. So gluten allergy is one such. There are people with lactose intolerance who cannot tolerate the milk sugar lactose. So they get a bloating sensation or nauseating feeling when milk is taken. Similarly, there are people who are allergic to gluten. Gluten is a protein which is present in wheat. So people with gluten allergy, it's called a celiac disease. So people with celiac disease or gluten allergy have a problem metabolizing gluten, and this results in gluten allergy. It can result in irritable bowels, loose motions, bloating, etc. So for such people, gluten-free food is recommended. So millets are gluten-free, rice is gluten-free. So those foods are recommended. But why is it everybody should have the same thing? Not required. Many times, as I told you, we go with the masses, or we just go by, and it's called as a fad diet. Somebody else is doing. People, majority are doing. It's in the media. People are speaking about it. So it becomes a fad. Definitely not required. If you don't have gluten allergy, if you're not suffering from celiac disease, all of it, we can take moderate amounts of gluten or wheat. Not required that we abstain from that. But here, I would like to very importantly drive home this point that please listen to your bodies. Observe your bodies. Listen to your bodies. Our body is in constant conversation with ourselves. There are times when you eat a particular food and then you feel good the next day. You eat a particular food, you feel you're heavy, you have a bloated feeling. The next day, the bowel movements are not okay for you. Each and every individual has a unique body type. Something that agrees very well with me may not be the same thing with you. The kind of food I have eaten as a child and we have grown up with, that is something probably that suits you. The kind of food you ate or you got when you were in your mother's stomach, what your mother ate and what you got, that is something you naturally adapt yourself to. So these are something which are good for you. There may be something which may be something very good for somebody else which may not agree. In our language in Kannada, there's a saying, "Ati adre amruta kuda visha." Anything in moderation is good. And we also say, one man's food is another man's poison, which means to say something which agrees with you may not agree with somebody else. So we need to listen to our bodies. If there is something which you've just had, and each time you have that food, you have an irritation, you have a irritable bowel, or you have any other symptom, which means that you need to stay away from that or refrain for some time at least and check. Not everybody should stay away from wheat. Not everybody should stay away from a particular food. So Don't get carried away by such things. Look for yourself, see what goes well with you, what does not go well. Maintain a food blog. Tick those things which are fine with you, which is not okay with you. You've gone to a restaurant and each time you go to that particular restaurant, you come back with the stomach upset. Probably it could be the MSG, it could be a particular type of food additive that's being used. Go back and check. You are the right decision maker for your own self. You have your own yardstick. Don't compare with somebody. The general principles, the guiding principles of nutrition remain the same. But at the same time, every diet is custom made. There is nothing which suits everyone. So to that extent, listen to your bodies. If gluten is fine with you, you don't have to just follow the herd mentality.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is: are fox nuts rich source of magnesium?
Yes, fox nuts are rich source of magnesium, but we have other local nuts also available. So you could go in for that. If fox nuts are available, you can. Not just magnesium, they're also a good source of other trace elements like selenium, zinc
Uh,
also.
in at least North India, fox nuts are very popular, especially during the Navratras right now.
Please, yes.
Fox nuts commonly culturally used a lot of times. Now, the next question is if
Please go ahead.
one
I
has,
just want
oh,
to
sorry.
add a point here. Many a times you said it right, ma'am. Many a times, many of our festivals, customary habits and rituals, lot of good things are brought in. Just like, for example, harvest season. We call Sankranti. You call it different kite festivals. Jan 14th, what we have, Makar Sankranti. So if you see at that particular time, we consume till, we consume jaggery and copra. There is so much of message in that in the form of tradition. There is a change in the sun's movement, and that is a time there is a change in the climate. That is a time we need to keep our body warm. So in the name of festival, we consume till, we exchange till ladus, we visit homes and then distribute. So in a way, we are exchanging good health. We are getting calcium, vitamin D, and good heat in the form of til and copra and jaggery. Similarly, as you said, Navratri and fox nuts. There is so much of ancient wisdom in all these practices. Unfortunately, we are losing it in the name of westernization and urbanization. So let's be very, very proud of our customs and traditions. There are many things with a lot of scientific base. We have lost out on that. It's time we revisit, learn, and practice and document these things. Oh, yes.
Just today, I was having this conversation about Navratri and the kind of food we eat with my
Mhm,
daughter. So the next
mhm.
question is, ma'am, if we are pure vegetarians, then how can one get omega-3 fatty acids in our diet?
Okay, not just omega-3 fatty acids. Let me just talk about other issues also. Many a times vegetarians may have this concern because egg, fish, poultry are good source of protein, we say, good source of iron. So am I missing out on these things? Could be a general question apart from omega-3. So we call this as food exchange, and then how we get different nutrients from different foods. If meat and meat products and egg and milk, etc., have these proteins and calcium, we also have other foods which are good source of proteins in the vegetarian section too. So we need to compensate those. So those of you who are vegetarians need to be eating good quantity and quality of pulses, very important, as I told you last class. Different variety of pulses. So when we eat different variety of pulses, you get different combination of amino acids, in turn good protein which we get from the egg or non-veg items. So that's exactly why for vegetarians, variety of pulses is very, very important. Legumes and pulses bring in variety, add sprouts, and make different types of dals, etc. Secondly, omega-3 fatty acids. Although omega-3 fatty acids are present especially in certain types of fish, sardines, tuna, etc., I was talking about the flax seeds. Flax seeds are an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids. Flax seeds are those brown, small oil seeds which are easily available in the market. So, if you are a vegetarian, apart from the legumes and pulses, eat omega-3 fatty acids in the form of flax seeds. Flax seeds can be made, as I told you, in the form of powder, added to water. You can make flavored chutney powder, dry powders. You can just roast it, dry roast it, and munch it. It's very crispy and it's nice. You can also add coarsely powdered flax seeds to your rotis, just like how naan and rumalis have till on it. You can add. Then you can toss these flax seeds and add it to your salads along with fresh vegetables and a nice salad dressing. So there are many ways of using flaxseed oils, flax seeds, which are very rich in omega-3 fatty. At the same time, these days, chickpeas are prepared out of flax seeds oils. There are different types of sweets that are prepared. So don't worry, these alternatives, food exchanges are available.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, and the next question is about the soya bean. That is it healthy? She asks. Please tell us about the soya bean, as there is a lot of controversy over its nutrition.
Yes, soya is a high source of protein, extremely rich in protein, but there are sources which are called as food inhibitors, which inhibits the absorption of other nutrients. So soya has got this inhibitors. So therefore, the processing is very important. Don't just eat soya as it is. It's very important that it undergoes some kind of processing, soaking, fermenting, and that's how it is available. So if you are eating in the form of soya tofu, that's a good one. Soya milk, all these are processed ones. So that way, if you can consume it, it is fine. Because of the inhibitors that are present, they're called as phytates. Because of the phytates or the inhibitors that are present in soya, don't just consume like any other pulse. You need to soak it, cook it. The fermented version in the form of tofu and milk is even better. But yes, there is a lot of controversy and there are different schools of thought. So I would like to say soya is a good source of protein, but the way you consume it is very important. And then always mix it. Don't predominantly have soya. You can have it in the form of tofu or milk or blend it with flour in proportions.
Right,
I
ma'am. Thank you.
I
The
saw
next,
a
sorry.
question about graying of hair. I think probably you'll be
Yes.
reading it out to me. Yes, you can
Yeah,
read it.
that's coming 5, 6 questions down the line.
All right,
Uh,
all right.
this one says there are a lot of studies that propagate intermittent fasting. So, what is your opinion about that?
Okay. So intermittent fasting is something which is really catching up these days. So intermittent fasting is not about what you eat, but it is more about when you eat. So in intermittent fasting, there is a window period of about 8 hours. So during those 8 hours, you eat whatever you want, anything. That is your carbs, your fats, anything. So for the 8 hours, you eat everything, and for the next 16 hours, you don't eat anything. So this is the simple principle of intermittent fasting. So what happens is, if you can choose that 8 hour window period cautiously, say for example, you start eating around 10 o'clock in the morning and then 8 hours from then. So you've got your breakfast also, you've got your lunch also, and then probably in the form of an early dinner. And then you don't eat the late evening and night till next day morning, 10 o'clock, you're kind of okay. So this is the basic principle of intermittent fasting. That is, when you eat is what is important. During what you eat, during that 8 hours, you eat whatever you want. This kind of intermittent fasting, the principle here is, it says that you burn those calories, and then in those 16 hours of fasting, your body utilizes the fat and the fat gets burned. So that's a good way of losing kilos. Intermittent fasting, just like any other, I was mentioning about the Atkins diet, etc., could be a good way for a short term to reduce a task or to a target weight. You have a target of say this many kgs for this month. Never, always say, please remember, it's about a kilo per week, about 4 kgs per month through good dieting, exercise, and rest should be the mantra. 4 kilos per month is a steady weight loss with proper diet and health exercise. But any other extreme diets which promises several kgs in a week or several kgs in a fortnight or a month, these might feel you good, you might lose inches, you might reduce your weight, but in the long run, this can have a long-term effect. So intermittent fasting, if you can keep it for a short duration, if you can just keep it for a couple of days in a week or a month, or have it for a few weeks and then get back to your balanced 5 meals a day, that is the best one. None of these are or should be for a long time, and these are not sustainable methods. Only to achieve a target weight you can do it, but in the long run, please go back to your traditional methods of 5 meals or 3 meals with good snacks and thing and a balanced diet and a moderate level of exercise, at least 20 minutes of moderate physical activities 5 times a week, at least 20 minutes of physical exercise, moderate physical exercise, 20 minutes 5 times a week with good balanced diet should be the key for your lifetime. All these intermittent fasting, etc., can be for a short period only. Hope I have
Right.
explained.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Dr. Neeta Dhingra. She wants to know if curd that we buy in polypacks, let's say from Mother Dairy or Amul, are they an adequate and safe source of protein as compared to the curd we set at home?
Okay, ma'am, that's a good question. Basically, talking about curds by itself, curd is a good probiotic. Very, very important. Probiotics are those which will give back the good microbiome, what we were talking about, the gut microbiome. Lactobacilli are a good colony of healthy bacteria. There are different types of bacteria. In that, lactobacilli are one group or one colony of healthy, happy, or friendly bacteria, which is very important for our gut health, immunity, mental health, etc. So where do we get this? We get this from curds, buttermilk, or fermented foods. How good are the curd sources or the kind of thing? Talking about that, when you make a bowl of home dahi or curds at home, we had the culture, the previous day's curd to it. We set the curds at a particular temperature, the milk is heated, and then you add a culture or sample of lactobacilli or the curds, and then it multiplies, and then the next day morning you have a well set bowl of curd. So the lactobacilli multiplies and then it sets the curd. That's the best thing. And this is very, very healthy, good probiotic. If the dairies, if the commercial places are using lactobacilli as the culture to set the curds, and we are getting the good probiotic, it's well and good. It's really good. Now, I'm not just talking about the protein. I'll come to that. This is more than important. But sometimes in the commercial practice, not using lactobacilli or the curds as the thing to set the milk, there could be other chemical agents, other souring agents that could be used to set the milk. In such cases, the amount of lactobacilli could be less. It could be rarely present. So in that case, although we get the protein part from the curd or the milk, the goodness of the probiotic we may be losing. So good practice would be to set your own bowl of curds. If you're buying it commercially, let's see that you buy it from a reputed place so that you get good colony of lactobacilli also, and this is used to set the curds. But otherwise, protein, you get good quality of protein, good amount of protein in curds and milk, which is very good for the body.
Right, ma'am. Dr. Deepak Sharma asks, how can we manage the increasing level of anxiety and stress, the increased gut mortality among students prior to their exams?
Okay, good question. Please remember, I could have shown you the slide, but right now I'll have to switch over to another presentation, probably some other time. I will show that. Please make a note of, good question from Dr. Deepak sir. Please make a note of this acronym DOSE, D-O-S-E. D for dopamine, O for oxytocin, S for serotonin, and E for endorphin. Students or anybody for that matter, to bring down your anxiety level, especially during exams or during any other time, it is very important that you get a dose of this, a dose of DOSE, dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin naturally through your food and activity. So how do we get that for your elevated mood and good thing? Number one, dopamine. I'll start from bottom to top. Endorphin. Endorphin is all these are feel-good hormones or neurotransmitters which are produced in the brain. Endorphin, the last one. Endorphin is one neurotransmitter or a happy hormone which is produced when we exercise. Whenever we exercise, there's a little wear and tear in the body, and then we need natural painkillers. So our body or nature has been designed in such a way that natural painkiller in the form of endorphin is produced whenever we exercise or we get into some physical activity. You run on the treadmill or you walk or you lift weights. There is natural wear and tear. So as a repair measure, endorphin is produced, which is a natural painkiller. It not just eases the pain, but at the same time, it also makes you feel good, brings in that nice feeling. That's exactly why people who are very much used to going to the gym every day, or you're doing yoga or meditation or cycling or a morning walk, when they don't do that, when they miss out on their morning ritual or regime, they feel, I missed out something. There's something is lacking. That's because they missed out their endorphin, the feel good hormone. So very importantly, to keep yourself fit and lower your anxiety level, whether you're a student or whatever, make time for that physical exercise. That 20 minutes of physical exercise, whether it's during exams or any time, it not only burns those extra calories, but it releases endorphin and it keeps you happy, brings down the anxiety level because you have natural painkiller, which is relieving pain and also making you feel good. So E was that, DOSE, I started with E. Yes is for serotonin. Serotonin is that neurotransmitter, as I told you, which is produced in the brain, but 90% of it is produced in your gut. That's the second happy hormone. How do we increase the production of serotonin? Apart from the food, probiotics, I told you about milk and tryptophan, which will help you in the production of serotonin. Apart from all these things, another way of increasing your serotonin and elevating your mood and being happy is, any guesses? I stop here and I ask you a question. Any other way of improving serotonin? Let me see it in the chat box. How do we increase serotonin, happy hormone? Thank you. I'm getting a lot of appreciations and acknowledgement. Thanks so much. Informative, good session. Thank you all so much. Can I get the answer for this? Serotonin, apart from your food, the happy hormone. How else can we get this happy hormone, which elevates your mood? Quick answers, please. We are running short of time. Oh, we are almost done. Okay, exercise, sleep, all that is fine. Yes, I've been talking about that. Other than that, meditation, okay. Warm milk and sleep. These answers I've already given you. Something which I've not spoken still. Okay. Some of you are partly right. Please remember, take this tip from me. Serotonin is that neurotransmitter which is produced when we help out people, when you're altruistic in nature, when you do something which brings a smile on somebody else's face, when you bend down and lift up somebody who is lower than you. You help out, you bring a smile on someone's face. You reach out and do something good to somebody there, a stranger. It could be anybody, unexpected, not expecting anything in return. Altruistic behavior. That brings in serotonin, the feel-good hormone. So, can we bring that smile on someone's face today? Can you help out someone today? You don't have to be very rich to give or to make someone happy. We can just make the person happy by reaching out, by offering a shoulder to cry, to reaching out, get serotonin. So whatever that makes you feel happy, whatever that you can do to bring a smile on someone else's face, do that. By doing that, you're not just being good to him, you are being very selfish there. Because by helping that person, you are getting serotonin. End of the day, your mood is elevated, your mental health improves. So today, if you have not done that, you have not got your serotonin, after the session, see to it that you randomly go, smile at someone, help someone, ask somebody, how are you today? It could be that security guard, the lift operator, your maid servant, do something unexpected without even expecting any return, help out someone. That is a very good way of getting serotonin and a good mood and reducing anxiety. Okay, I move on to the next one, O, oxytocin. Oxytocin is that neurotransmitter or happy hormone that is produced whenever there is good, genuine, healthy physical contact. So It could be a warm hug, a mother cuddling the child, a father hugging the daughter. It could be a good friend, a shoulder, arm over the shoulder, cherishing a ailing a friend of yours. It is that good physical touch, a genuine physical touch or a contact. This is something which brings in oxytocin. Oxytocin is a muscle relaxant, a feel good hormone. So that's exactly why earlier days when someone was sick, we would visit them and sit beside their bedside, and the person would feel so happy, even though you didn't do a thing in terms of taking his pain. And oh, I felt good talking to you, just holding your hands. But unfortunately, today, this is something all of us are missing. We need to maintain social distance and then can't touch people. We are missing oxytocin, especially children, especially old people at home. The physical touch is something very, very important, which really, really builds or elevates the mood. But unfortunately, these days, for pandemic reasons, stay away. But there are other ways how you can still keep in touch. And the first one, D, is dopamine. Dopamine is that neurotransmitter which is produced when we accomplish task. That is, you set yourself a target and you achieve it. Dopamine is produced. It could be, I want to clean my room this weekend. You said it and you did it. I want to clear my competitive exam. You've got a target and you've done it. It could be a small target or a big target. Setting a target and achieving it. Thinking of a task and then accomplishing that task, small or big. Dopamine, happy hormone, neurotransmitter is produced. So can you fix a task every time? My task today was to meet you all over the Google Meet, share some of my thoughts, and talk about food and mood, and so that I bring in a little smile, make you people get these things into your regime and apply these in your day-to-day life. So this was my target. And if that is giving me my dose today. I've got my dopamine, I've got my oxytocin, I've got my serotonin. The kind of answers you're giving me, well, wonderful session, man, and amazing session. I've got my serotonin here. So these are my happy hormones. So if we can get a dose of this every day, your dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin, exercise, help others, keep yourself clean and take a task and achieve it, and then your other OSC, oxytocin, being in touch with people, genuine contact. This is a sure, short way of reducing anxiety, stress, whether you're a student or a working professional or a senior citizen, whoever it may be. So this is something. So have you got your dose today? If you have not got your dose today, identify which is that you have missed. DOS is an acronym I'm using, dose. So identify what is it that you have missed. See to it that before you go to bed today, you get that DOS. If you have not exercised, if you have not got your endorphin, just go 20 rounds around your dining table before you sit for your supper. If you haven't got a serotonin, see to it that you spread that smile today before you go to bed. By doing this, you are doing yourself a favor, not somebody else. I think it's all, we
That's
have lost the time.
excellent advice, ma'am. A dose of dose every day. So we now come to the last two questions. One, of course, is the one you saw, that how does one prevent the premature graying of hair? And the other one is a question from Dr. Paranjit Kaur, who wants to know what foods are specially beneficial for the bones.
Okay. Both are very pertinent questions. I don't know how much time I can take. We have already exceeded the time limit. So premature graying, there are many reasons for premature graying. One is it could be heredity. If premature graying has been in the family, one reason could be heredity. Secondly, lack of protein in your diet, lack of balanced diet could be one of the reasons. Zinc deficiency can result in premature graying. The pollutants, harsh chemicals, harsh shampoos, hard water, and things which don't agree with that person can result in premature graying. So these are some of the causes. Apart from that, hormonal disturbances, endocrine problems could also result in premature graying. Excessive worrying, high amounts of tension and worry can also result in hair fall, if not have premature graying. So these are the things we have to identify the gaps. Is it endocrinal problems? Is it micronutrient deficiency in the form of zinc or other micronutrient deficiencies? Is it protein deficiency? Is it heredity? Is it environmental factors? Is it harsh chemicals and those factors? So these things we need to identify. So start fixing your diet, your lifestyle, excessive worry, lack of sleep. So when we fix these things, plug in those gaps, and still if you don't, then it's important that you visit your doctor. In that context, I would like to give a tip. Curry leaves is an excellent source of zinc and phosphorus, very good treatment for premature graying. So take a, say about 250 ml or 100 ml of coconut oil, good cold pressed or whatever available, good reputed brand coconut oil. Heat it with a handful of curry leaves. Heat it well, boil it well. The curry leaves will shrivel or blacken, that's okay. Leave it in that oil overnight. Next day you filter it. The oil would have turned a little greenish, that doesn't matter. Excellent remedy for premature graying. Apart from curry leaves, you can also add few methi seeds. And if amla is in season, amla, small bits of amla can be added, and hibiscus leaves, neem leaves. There are other herbs which could be added. I'm not giving you that tip. I've been really exceeding that time, but since this question was so tempting, I wanted to tell you that. So preparing your own herbal oil, main ingredient especially, as I told you, curry leaves, curry patta, very good for premature graying. At the same time, these curry leaves can be chewed along with your food. Generally, we take it out. So instead, cut curry leaves into small shreds or pieces, add it to your seasoning, and instead of taking it away, eat curry leaves. Curry leaves, chutney powder, curry leaves in seasoning. Curry leaves are very good for premature graying. I hope I've answered your question. I move on to the next one about bones. Very important question. Bone health is very, very important. Bone is primarily made up of calcium and phosphorus predominantly. So if your bones have to be strong, then you should have good calcium and phosphorus. So what are the calcium-rich foods? Calcium-rich foods are dairy products, milk and milk products. Calcium-rich foods are also fish and meat. So that is there. And calcium is also present in till, that is sesame seeds. Ragi is very good in calcium. So these are some of the foods we should be eating for good bone health. Milk and milk products are dairy, ragi, till or sesame seeds, very, very good for bones. Apart from that, for calcium absorption, we also need vitamin D. So minimum 20 minutes of sun exposure in the morning between 7:30 to 8:30, or in the evening 4:30 to 5:30. Minimum 20 minutes of sun exposure to the exposed cell. Don't cover yourself completely. Don't wear dark clothes or full sleeve clothes. Expose yourself to the sun between 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, or 4:30 to 5:30 in the evening. Take a walk, take your pet for a walk, do some gardening, read your newspaper, do something at that time. Vitamin D, sunlight is a good source of vitamin D. Vitamin D and calcium, very important for good, strong bones. At the same time, phosphorus is very important. Way to, instead of remembering the different terminologies and different foods, get balanced diet, eat variety of nuts and oil seeds. You get your calcium, you get your nuts. Exercise is very, very important, because it's not just food. The bone strength, endurance also comes from exercise and strength training. So your own weight, body weight training, then light weights, stretching, body bearing, weight bearing exercises, very, very important. That's why I spoke about the 4 pillars. It's not just only food. Food and exercise, very important for strength of your bones. So if you can take care of all these things, sunlight, exercise, food, then the bones will be strong. Especially women who are reaching menopausal age, it is common that the absorption of calcium reduces, because as we hit menopause, the estrogen hormones come down. Estrogen is very important for the absorption for metabolization of calcium. So when women reach menopausal age, there is a general tendency of calcium deficiency, resulting in osteoporosis or weak bones, or pores in the bones or holes in the bone, resulting in fractures and osteoporosis. Therefore, women who are in the menopausal age, it's very important that they take good calcium source in the form of milk, till seeds. One tip here I would like to give you is, those of you who are not obese or don't have any cardiovascular problems, soak about a teaspoon of black till in a small glass of water overnight. Just about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of black till, especially black till. Soak it in a glass of water. Next day morning, drink that water, and If you're not obese, if you don't have cholesterol issue, you can also eat that. Black till is an excellent source of calcium. Any till for that matter, but black till, consume it this way. Apart from this, roasted sesame seeds, roasted, add it to your sabjis, add it to your chapatis and rotis. So you get till, and till is a good source of calcium. You can add roasted till for your salads in any of those preparations. So this way, if you can incorporate calcium in your regular day-to-day, bone health is taken care of. And good exercise, I was telling you, and very importantly, and those of you who are menopausal, also you can speak to doctor, and then minimum 500 micrograms of calcium could be taken. Get in touch with your doctor, especially menopausal women. You can take a supplement of calcium, because after 50 and during menopause, the calcium absorption is reduced naturally because of lack of estrogen. Otherwise, the other age groups, diet rich in dairy and other calcium rich foods, what I was talking to you, good balanced diet, good exercise, sun exposure should take care of your bone health. And I would like to stress that the first 30 years are the mineral deposition stage. That is when the minerals are deposited into the bones. So the first 30 years, see to it that you eat balanced food, eat well. 30 to 40, it is the maintenance. And 40 onwards, the calcium from the bones leaches out into the bloodstream, and then the thinning of the bones take place. So those of you who are under 30, this is the right time. Invest in your health, exercise well, and eat good calcium rich foods, because 30 to 40 you're only utilizing, and after 40 it is depletion. So those of you who are under 30, don't miss the bus. Instead of junk food, eat calcium rich foods. And the last point I would like to add is aerated drinks in the form of any kind of fizzy drinks where phosphoric acid is added to get that fizz. So phosphoric acid leaches calcium from the bones. So too much of soft drinks in the form of aerated drinks leaches out calcium from the bones and resulting in thinning of the bones. So for the bone health, again, please cut down soft drinks or aerated drinks. I hope I've answered your question. The subject is so vast and it's so interesting. If you ask me a question, I'll just go on, but we need to look at or respect time also. So I take.
Very exhaustive answers given. Thank you so much for your session. I now wish to invite my colleague, Ms. Sukhvinder Kaur, to please deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks for such an enlightening session, ma'am. This session brought forward the strong correlation between the food and the mood. The emotions play an important role in the life of all of us, but the fact that what we eat also has a potential to strengthen or weaken our emotional balance. The gist of the today is that apart from good nutrition, the adequate rest, regular exercise, positive mental attitude are the foundation pillars of the optimal health. Ma'am, on behalf of IQAC of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Khalsa College, I thank you immensely for such an illuminating and thought-provoking session. We are indeed grateful to you for sharing with us your profound knowledge and intense research in this area. I am sure the insights provided by you shall be tremendously beneficial in strengthening our emotional personality. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would
Thank you.
also like to I would also like to thank our principal sir, Dr. Gurmohinder Singh, for his consistent support and guidance. Sincere gratitude to Dr. Deepak Sharma, IQAC coordinator, and the mentoring committee headed by Dr. Neeta Dhingra for conceptualizing the idea of this webinar series. A big thanks to all the entire team IQAC for the support in organizing the today's session. Last but not the least, a special thanks to all the faculty members and the students who spared their time on Saturday evening and joined the webinar. The participant queries had made the session more engaging. Thanks to all. Looking forward for your participation in the upcoming webinar series dated 31st October on Food, Family and Health Connect. Thank you all once again and happy Navratri to all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And a lot of appreciative words in the chat box. I thank each one of you. I have just gone through them. I am so touched. I am really, really thank you. I thank each one of you, and I see a whole lot of them logged in, although we crossed the time limit.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Even I am seeing this. Yes, participants are still there. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I was forced to because there were so many questions. So with that, I couldn't just cut it short. So with that, I excuse for the taking extra time on that. Thank you all so much. Happy Navratri to all of you. Stay safe, eat safe, and be happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I request all the
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
participants.
Deepak sir. Thank you so much.
I request all the participants to please fill the feedback link shared in the chat box.
Thank you, ma'am. So I take leave. I was just reading the
Yes,
chat.
ma'am. Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a nice day. Okay, ma'am. Okay, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
I request all the participants to please quit the meeting after filling the attendance and feedback form.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.